to South Korea in third, or even Germany from 30 downwards, or Switzerland from 29 downwards, you probably can. But let's move into the big games here of the weekend, which was those Americas qualifiers. And let's go into Uruguay versus USA first, because obviously Uruguay now qualified for the Rugby World Cup as the Americas 1, which is big for them. Obviously, we were expecting them to go potentially as Americas 2, but they went through as Americas 1.
So I believe they are joining up with the Australian group, aren't they?
No,
possibly, or is that Americas 2?
Maybe. You keep talking. I will Google that.
Alrighty. So pretty much for this game, though, Uruguay, they had that game last week, 19 points to 16, where they did just lose up against the USA. They came out in this game, and the thing that I noticed with them is they were just clinical in this matchup. They made the most of their opportunities. They were taking them, and they were scoring a lot of tries. The commentators were loving it, like I mentioned earlier on. I believe he said try about 15 times in a row for one of them as well. And then little did he know they were going to be able to score a couple more after that as well. But 34-15 compared to losing by 3 points the week prior is just an incredible performance from Uruguay. They dug deep and they wanted this game so that they could make it through to that Rugby World Cup, and that's exactly what they have done. And now the USA, slightly fortunate for them in some regards, I guess you could say, because of the fact that they have played Canada about 6 times in the last little while. But instead now they're going to have to face Chile, who also had a pretty decent performance there. And it's going to be an interesting game, depending on when it does happen for that one as well. But yeah, Uruguay, just very good. The USA, they still had their pacey backs that they were able to use to their advantage a little bit. And also, I believe it was at scrum time, they were having a little bit more success than the Uruguayans. But very good performance from Uruguay there.
It was a good performance from Uruguay, and I will say this, they're not in Pool C with Australia. They're not in Pool D with the English. They're not in Pool B with South Africa. They're actually in Pool A with New Zealand, France, Italy, and obviously Uruguay there. And Africa 1, who will be, I'm not too sure who Africa 1 will be, but yeah, no, they have qualified there as there with France, Italy, and New Zealand, which is a very difficult group there. Obviously, Italy are no slouches. France is obviously going to be one of the World Cup favourites, and they're the home nation. And New Zealand is also in that group, which is crazy. The other America's team will go into America's 2 will go into the England, Japan, Argentina, Samoa group, which is Pool D. Pool C is actually Europe 1 and the final qualifier winner. So Europe 1's probably Georgia, and I don't know the final qualifier winner. And then obviously, Asia Pacific 1, which is more than likely Samoa, will go through to South Africa, Ireland, Scotland, and also Europe 2 there, which might be Spain or Portugal. I'd probably assume Portugal based on what we've seen. Obviously, we don't know, to be honest with you. We spoke this last week, but I thought Uruguay were pretty good here. Obviously, they were playing at home in Montevideo, which is awesome because they had a great crowd there. It was electric. Truly, listening to the crowd there was fantastic. Not only just hearing what the commentary and how excited he was. As you mentioned before this podcast, you could hear one of the commentators get so excited about his team. And obviously they're meant to be non-biased, but he's speaking, Portuguese, or I think they speak Portuguese in Uruguay. I'm not sure. I think they probably do, but if they don't, I'm sorry. But they were very excited, and it was an electrifying atmosphere. So hopefully Uruguay, who were at the last World Cup too, hopefully they can compete and maybe pull off a shock like when they beat Fiji, maybe beat Italy. I don't think that would be as much of a shock, but it would still be a shock nonetheless. If would you agree?
Yeah, that would be a big game for them as well. But if they play like they did up against the USA in this game, who knows? Anything could happen. It is still about a year and a half, or even it's still 2 years, but it's getting closer every single day. We are counting down them till we get to see that game, and also just that competition take place. First opening game, All Blacks versus France. We're going to get to see a little bit of a preview of it for the November internationals, alongside the games between Wales and Australia for third or fourth in a row at the moment for the Rugby World Cup, between those two sides being in the same pool. Alongside Fiji as well is another one that does often get thrown in with the Wallabies. But yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome to see how it does go for them all.
I just find it interesting, obviously, how USA have collapsed here. Like, USA, obviously, the highest ranked team out of all 4 of those teams. And although they probably do beat Chile in the next game, it's really strange because obviously they did lead by 3. Uruguay had some pretty poor form coming into this. I think they played Chile, and it was 15-10. It was a close game. And really, we kind of were surprised by that simply because Chile, they're ranked quite low. I think they were ranked 20 I think they were ranked 25th or something like that, and now obviously they're ranked just above Canada after their win. But, we were surprised by that originally, where I'm just quickly going and have a look here to see where they originally were. Yes, Chile are 24th, so they were in 28th. Sorry, they were in 26th. Chile were in 28th, and I believe they might have actually been 20. No, Switzerland and Germany haven't changed. So Chile were actually in 28th when they did beat. Oh, no, they lost by 5 to Uruguay. It was a close one, though, which shouldn't have been happening. And then for them to go and beat Canada, to say, obviously brings that back into perspective. But, yeah, USA, really, really odd that they're kind of not doing well right now. They looked like they were doing okay, and then that result happened. So I think we move into the next game, which is the Canada versus Chile game. But obviously we can also somewhat refer to the USA because Chile are going to be playing.